Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace, my go-to for building a website and online shop. Happy holidays, everyone! This month's painting is a continuation of last month's video, which I will link in the video description below. I originally intended to finish the painting by now, but as usual, I overestimated my abilities, and sadly, this painting will now need a part 3 coming up next month. Real quick before I begin, if you'd like to see a 30-minute tutorial of this video, along with hundreds of hours of exclusive content and monthly art rewards, feel free to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/happydartist. To quickly recap part 1 of this video from last month, I started off with a monochromatic grisaille underpainting on a toned and gridded 16 by 20 inch panel. This piece is for an upcoming gallery show with the theme Year of the Dragon, and my concept was to paint an extravagant dragon tattoo covering her entire back. But I ran out of time this month, so the tattoo portion will sadly have to be in next month's video. After the grisaille underpainting was thoroughly dry, it was time for me to start the main color pass. Just a quick side note, there are so many different ways to describe this stage of the process. Sometimes I say primary pass, direct painting pass, first layer, main color pass, etc. But it doesn't really matter what the terminology is. What matters is that this stage is the stage where the bulk of the work will be done. This is the stage where I finally mix and apply the correct colors, and I pick a starting point on the piece and render as perfectly as I can from that starting point, expanding outward, eventually covering the entire piece. My goal after finishing the main color pass is for the piece to be 80 to 90% finished, and I reserve the remaining finishing touches for the glazing pass, which I will be showcasing in next month's video. The benefit of trying to make this main color pass as perfect as possible in just one layer is that we can utilize the benefit of working wet onto wet. This allows us more control over the edge quality and degree of detail and blending. For example, when my background paint is still wet, it's easier for me to soften the edges where the background meets the subject. For me, as a personal preference, I also like to see the piece get completed little by little, almost as if I'm slowly scratching away the underpainting and revealing a pretty and finished painting inch by inch. This helps me mentally get through the famous ugly phase, as even one small square inch of a polished complete painting is more palatable and encouraging than an entire piece covered in rough, half-done brushstrokes. In terms of the aesthetics of this piece, I was aiming for a more illustrative style that calls back to some of my earlier work. This is a somewhat departure from the more classical oil painting style I've been working with in recent years, so I was a little surprised at how challenging and unfamiliar it was. Making elegant, clean lines with oil paint is actually harder than softly rendering edgeless 3D forms. I'm trying to create a hybrid of the classical and illustrative. On the illustrative side, I'm drawing inspiration from Manga and Art Nouveau with exaggerated stylization of the facial features and anatomy, and lots of distinctive flowing line work. On the classical painting side, I'm still trying to incorporate the more academic elements of realism, such as paying attention to the light source, the fall of light, detailed anatomy, and a sense of volume and form within the confines of the illustrative lines. Let's hope this works out in the end. And that about wraps up today's video. There are a few minor mistakes to fix, some improvements I have to make, and of course, the crucial element of the painting, the dragon tattoo, still needs to be planned and executed, and these will all be a part of next month's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your holiday season. And of course, you guessed it, my eternal never-ending sale is still going on in my shop, so if you'd like 20% off your order of prints and originals, just enter the code HOLIDAY at happyd-artist.com. And if you're interested in learning more about how to paint and draw, I have lots of art educational content on my Patreon page, including exclusive video tutorials, step-by-step photo tutorials, live streams, podcasts, and even surprise art gift boxes. All available at patreon.com/happydartist. I'd love to have you join my Patreon family. A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video and supporting the art community. Squarespace is the best platform to create a professional website and online shop. Their beautifully designed templates are easy to use for beginners and look great on both desktop and mobile. I've sold my art through Squarespace for almost 10 years, and I can attest to the quality of their online commerce features, whether you want to sell digital or physical items. They also provide useful analytics that help you make the most of your online business. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/happydartist to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Also, if you want to check out more artworks, works in progress, and just random daily artist adventures, feel free to check out my Instagram, and you can follow me at the handle @happydartist.